Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and it's Talking Comics. Okay, this is I'm Talking Comics for the week of June 12th, 2024, I think. Got a decent stack here of books. My just my thoughts as I whip the comics out. Basically, we're gonna start out with probably my favorite comic this week, Weatherman. This is issue number 6. This is the penultimate issue. Penultimate issue. And we basically, I wasn't sure the way last issue ended. Is it going to just be a fight? What's the conversation going to be? So we get a great conversation between our special agent and the weatherman, Ian, where he's at now, where he's been. We battle the ultimate bad guy. The art in it is amazing. Nathan Fox and Rano Dicino does the colors. Just really, really good stuff. Excellent story. Super gripping. I was gonna do this video yesterday for my birthday. I got a new Brutal Noodles shirt in color to go along with my one that's in black and white. It is super cool. I absolutely love this book. The ending of this issue, should have seen it coming. It surprised me though. One more issue. We'll see what that is. What trauma comes out of that. Because, in the real world, there's never just a perfect landing of anything. There's always collateral damage. And I'm curious to see what that is. This has been a great run. Like I said, if you haven't read it or haven't been reading it, the first 2 trades are for sure out. It won't be long before this trade comes out. Pick them up. It is such good stuff. It is such excellent art, fabulous characters, interesting story, all around. Good book. Next up, Napalm Lullaby, Rick Remender, Bengal. We get lots of action in this issue. Get a role with Supergirl character. Tiny bit more background. I think the background really comes from, we have a moment where we're on the palace high with the people who clearly are in charge of all of this. There's some implications that one of the guys is there, the king, whatever he is, has done some sleeping around, because there's a conversation about, this is your fault, you're bastards. And we thought they were all taken care of. And the Supergirl analog type character in this, she is called the janitor because she's cleaning out the high powered. We get to see these people swing some higher powers. Well, not her so much, because she has to be asleep. When she dreams, she affects reality, it seems. And the other one is like a high level psychic's not the word I want to use. She's telepathic in some form or another, can do all kinds of stuff. Chops up our Supergirl character to some degree. She literally, as her guts are kind of hanging out, she literally uses a laser finger and welds herself back together again. So I'm assuming the people who don't follow the superpowers and fall in line with this religion, the bastard children, seems like they're hunted down early and gotten rid of. These two clearly had been stuck around. Should have got myself something to drink. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm sticking with it. I think we all have some criticism of, are we getting enough of the picture? Rick Remender keeps telling in the back here, thank you for riding along and just getting this as we choose to feed it to you, which clearly us as readers don't really have a choice in that matter, right? Other than, I guess, speak with our dollars and not pick it up. I'm interested enough. I keep picking it up. I like lots of aspects of it. I don't want to know all the answers, but I'd like to have some clear grounding in some of the stuff. And I'm not sure that we've had that. It's kind of where I'm at with it. I like being exposed to the world as we go through it, not just have like a info dump in the back. I read a couple other comics that have like 7 or 8 pages of text in the back of it, filling out the world more, giving us more of the world and the environment and whatnot. And I'm like, if you can't put it in the sequential art and in the comic, I don't care. And if you can't tell a story without doing that, then there's a problem, right? So, at any rate, enjoying it. Understand some other people's criticism about it. To some degree, I have too, but still really digging the book as a whole. The look of it's great, and whatnot. A book I really love that I've also screwed up. This is Into the Unbeing Part One, Issue 1. I don't know if there's going to be more parts to it. I screwed up in that somehow I ordered this and I didn't order the others. And how my comics come, I order like 3 months in advance. Reading this issue right now, I would order number 4. And I've missed 2 and 3. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try getting a whole discount comic service and see if they will pick it up, if they can get those issues for me, whatever that's going to cost me. Written by Thompson. I'll look inside to see which Thompson it is. Hayden Sherman is the reason I picked the book up. I pick up anything that Hayden Sherman does. They are a wonderful artist. It's Zach Thompson does the script on it. Hayden Sherman does all the art. Jim Campbell does the letters. This cover, everybody looks at it and goes, oh, it looks like the guy who did House of Penance. It looks like Ian Bertram art. It's the tentacles. But it's actually Hayden Sherman. I love Hayden Sherman's work. They have just really become pretty masterful all around in my mind, and I'm really stoked, and I really, really like this comic. So we are near climate death, basically. Climate has tipped past the point of, it seems, of no return. There are some scientists trying to do good work. There's a group called Sinew. It stands for something. It's an acronym. I think they're held by like a private company. This group is out in the Australian outback, and they're trying to catalog whatever they can catalog as they survive. They all have interesting stories as to why they're there. And some geological form suddenly appears out in the middle of nowhere, just suddenly crops up, and it shows up on their scanners. They make a decision they're going to go out and check it because it's going to be days before their higher-ups would respond to anything, and they need to be right on top of this. So they go out to check it out. It is this all kinds of phenomena goes on. It's a massive geological, pit and formation that they can't understand. Lots of squeaky birds and whatnot, some other critter, and this massive cave down there. And then way off in the background, you can see this cave. It looks like a person's head risen up. And they are all deciding what they're going to do. The lead, our main character who's lost everything, goes, we're going to go check it out. We're camping here tonight because we won't be able to survive the heat. And then we will go and check it out. And they disappear. Their dog is left behind and whatnot. I just really a capturing story, the thoughts, the characters themselves. I'm probably not selling it really well. But I really, really enjoyed it and kicking myself. I don't know why I didn't order the other ones. Because like I said, I pretty much order Hayden Sherman stuff sight unseen because I enjoy it. Lots of times they get themselves on books that are kind of strange. And I dig the strange. So, at any rate, issue 1 of Into the Unbeing really dug that first issue. Like I said, hopefully I can pick up the others. Just not sure exactly how that's going to go about. Since they haven't come out yet. Back issues, there's plenty of places I can chase down back issues from. But when it hasn't come out yet, it's kind of strange. So, Outsiders, issue number 8, the aftermath of the whole planetary stuff from the last issue. Batwoman is kind of off doing her own thing. She got a call from someone saying, hey, there's this thing going on. Are you and the Outsiders still doing this stuff? She's not, but she needs something to do. So she's like, yeah, sure, we're doing this stuff. And she goes to investigate herself. She runs into Jenny Hex. And Jenny Hex has got an issue. We find out that she's picked up this cursed gun that basically can kill ghosts, can kill anything. And it just kind of keeps making you kill. And that's kind of where we're at, trying to figure out how to make that stop. And Batwoman takes on the burden and is out in the desert calling everybody else, saying, hey, I know I said some things. We all said some things. I'm back on board, and I could really use your help now. So curious to see what, going forward with us. I've heard from some friends and read some stuff. There's this Absolute DC is coming soon. It's this big, massive summer event. It's going to tie into some books. But it's also implied that it will end the dawn of DC. And I'm like, oh, no, dawn. Well, this is a dawn of DC book. I don't know if that means all these books go away. But I also noticed that, like, on the latest issue of Nightwing, it says dawn of DC too. So I don't know if they just are going to label down here and keep moving with books or not. This was, by and large, a decent one and done. It's got the beginning and the end of it tie into the greater picture for the outsiders. So I'm enjoying that too. Curious to see what's going on. What's the next thing that's going to happen and whatnot. Still really having a good time with the outsiders. New number one I picked up this week from Boom Studios. This is Lawful by Greg Pak, Diego Galindo, and Irma. What is that? Nibble. So I wasn't sure what I was going to get out of this book. I follow Greg on some social media somewhere, and I thought, it's been a while since I read a book by him. Let's pick this up. It's a new book and whatnot. And the basic premise of Lawful is they live someplace, I don't know where it is or whatever. It's clearly a fanciful world in some sense, where if you break rules, you become monstrous. So, like, if you, I don't know, steal something, you could grow horns or a tail or a paw or whatever. And our issue starts out with these two young kids. One of them is throwing rocks into the water. The other one is saying, hey, don't do that. Dad says we're not supposed to do that. That's going to stir up the monsters. We don't want to deal with the monsters. And the other one's throwing them in and go, see, there's nothing happened. Rules are just rules, whatever. So he kicks in a small little rock, and a monster does come up and attack him. A guy in armor storms forward, fights off the monster, and it's his dad. And he's like, "Sorry, Dad, I know I'm not supposed to do that." And Dad's like, "Really, you have to follow the rules. It's important, and there are consequences to not following the rules." Kind of peels back the kid's shirt, and this like tumor pops up on their chest. So, fast forward, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years or whatever, young adults. We have these two still. Our main character has not broken any rules. A matter of fact, to the point where we see him walking down the street. Across the other side of the street is his friend. She has horns. She has a cheetah tail. She has one paw, and she's dropping boxes saying, hey, can you help me? I'm going to drop these. My paw doesn't work real great for carrying stuff. And the light is red for him to cross the crosswalk. There's no cars, no nothing. But he lets his friend drop everything because he will not cross the crosswalk until it says to walk. To stay lawful, to stay good, to stay the good boy. We get lots of, oh, you're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. So he can take this test. He takes a test to become part of like the people who protect the city or whatever. We find out through his job, he passes the test. We find out through his job description that at the low level where he's at right now, he basically goes over files, and if everything matches up, the file matches the person, matches the picture, matches the deeds, you stamp unlawful on it, and those people are thrown out of the city, out of the wall with the rest of the monsters to either be eaten by monsters or be the monster, I guess. With that part, we're not 100% sure on. If the stuff doesn't match up, you stamp it. That needs to be looked over. And then that file is put aside, and that person basically gets a stay. until the next time they do something wrong and gets another monstrous feature and whatever. And of course, who pops up on day one? His best friend. And he stamps it as not being right. And our story moves forward. I'm really curious about the whole story just because I can't imagine living someplace where, I mean, like, at one point he's walking along and there's some people who know him. They're like, hey, come on, you good boy, come drink a horn with us. And these guys all have horns and they're hammering booze back like crazy and whatnot. I just can't imagine living someplace where you can't make any mistake along the way. Because if you do, you wear it. It's pretty crazy. So looking forward to checking it out and seeing what all is going to be in there. First issue was, wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was going to be, Greg Pak writes a lot of young adult stuff, and I thought, it's going to be that, and I'm not sure where I'm going to be on that. Not that I have a problem with that, just a lot of that stuff's not geared for me. And so I was like, that's a cool book, but not something that truly interests me. This one does. The concept of that is really cool, and I'm really looking forward to it and seeing what it is. Another penultimate issue this week. It is Ghostlore number 11. The storm has come. There's ghosts everywhere. We finally get to meet Shane, the infamous Shane that we've heard about for, I don't know, at least 6 issues. We get exposed to that. We get exposed to what might handle all of this. Won't say much more about it. It's been a great read. I love the covers. The covers are not by Lamacus, but the art inside is good too. But these covers have been really good. Let's see what the cover is. Covers by Riko Murakami. But yeah, good stuff inside as far as storytelling goes. Get some good emotions on people's faces and whatnot. Some disgust. There's Shane. Yeah. So the last issue we're gonna see. There's the cover for the last issue. Yeah, we're gonna see some cool stuff hopefully go on in this great Cullen Bunn story. Enjoy a lot of Cullen stuff, and this has definitely been one of those ones that's been good. It's been interesting. The dichotomy between the father and the daughter, how they deal with the ghosts and moving the ghosts on to whatever the next thing is. Kind of is almost metaphorical for how they deal with, the stuff that's going on around them in general, how they deal with stress, how they deal with whatever, all kind of good stuff going on there. It's been quite enjoyable. Another interesting comic. So this is the Deviant issue number 6, A Christmas Story. So this issue is interesting. I liked parts of it. I like this FBI character. We have some great moments with him. We find out that he is most likely queer. So now the story is kind of being championed largely. Well, this guy and the boyfriend of our writer that was writing this thing about this serial killing that happened back when back when he was a kid, and he's making a comic book of it now and whatnot, but he's been arrested for current crimes, being this Christmas killer. But we spend a lot of the issue with the boyfriend. So be serious to see what next issue tells us with the boyfriend. Because otherwise it's some back stuff or some just meandering that I don't know we needed for the story if we're writing a tight story. But I like those aspects of it to get more of a sense of these characters. Maybe these are the characters that are telling the story going forward, since how our main person that we've kind of been hearing the story through is now jailed. So their part of the story kind of ends. They can't do much while they're in jail, right? So maybe... I'm talking this out now as I'm talking to you guys. Maybe that's why we're getting these characters, because these are characters that are going to move this story itself forward, and that makes sense. More so than when I was reading, going, whatever. I really like the art in this. Joshua Hickson. They did a comic called The Plot from Vault comics that I really enjoyed. This issue is not as tight though. It's really strange. The last issues have been, he's got a style, but it was tight. Whereas this one, it's just kind of everything feels not crisp, and I'm not sure why that is. Absolutely love that title page. It's in the middle of the book, but it's just not. Everything's kind of fuzzy and not in focus. And I don't believe it's an effect because everything in it is that way. And I actually went back and looked to make sure that none of the creative team had changed, because it really threw me how much it was, and nothing has. So I don't know if this issue was more of a rushed issue, and so looser pencils that they then inked, and however the exact process is for this. But I felt that shift was kind of what the heck kind of a thing. So that was really, really strange. But the story is interesting. I'm curious to see what happens now, because basically it's been kind of pointed out, look, if you were the killer, would you just leave all of your murder equipment just laying in your closet? The main FBI considers this a slam dunk. No need to do any more investigating and whatnot. And this guy's like, yeah, you know what? I mean, and he's the one that found it. He's like, yeah, I'd feel a lot better about all this if there was these other connecting things, because once again, this guy is so savvy. Why in the world would he have just left this stuff sitting in his closet? So interesting stuff. But still really enjoying it. I'm really curious. I think there's like 2 or 3 issues left of it. I'm curious to see what the art looks like in the next issue. If there was a press to meet deadlines, and that's why I would just be curious, because it just really looks noticeably different. Enough so that, like I said, that it bothered me enough that I had to go and look to make sure that it was the same people on it and whatnot. So that part was a bit strange. And finally, this time we are talking Crocodile Black, issue number 2. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Psalm on it as far as art goes. This issue was really cool. Our main character has some psychiatric issues. It seems that it's been implied that they have a problem with keeping a grasp on reality. I don't know that they actually name the condition particularly, but they clearly have this issue, and they have come across a dead man while they're out delivering stuff. They're like a DoorDash sort of a deal, and he has these crocodile boots, and so the kid has started wearing the crocodile boots. The kid is kind of left home. He's a young adult, because his home life is pretty terrible as a whole. Either they don't understand him or they're downright mean to him. So he's kind of living at this deceased man's place, but he's taking on his persona. He's looking through the guy's memorabilia. He's looking through all of his stuff and kind of taking on his persona, wearing these crocodile boots. Well, this guy is like some badass hitman. There's some great artwork in here of him, I think of showing his psychosis. He picks up a gun. He picks up a gun to be kind of a badass, and then down here we get the how he's seeing himself in this with his psychosis. He actually shoots the gun off. So he's taking on this guy's persona, or what he thinks is the persona, or kind of a combination of the two, because how would he know this guy is actually killer? But it's implied that he's actually has wiped some people out. He goes to a bar, acts tough, gets himself hooked up with some bad people who like his panache, his go get him, as he beats some people up in a bar. But what he doesn't understand is, of course, the cops are closing in on the serial killer that he is kind of, not serial killer, but the hitman, that he has kind of taken that persona. And the mob themselves are questioning whether or not this hitman is doing what they're supposed to be doing, or has done something else and needs to be taken care of, being a loose end or whatever. So who knows what's going to happen, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. And that is this week's books. Thanks for watching. If you did, what'd you think? Did you read these books? I know some of you did. Yeah. Have a great one, everybody.